You have no idea how it's circus when I do the trend at home on Friday. Hey, you guys, we start preparing from 5.
Hey guys, and welcome to Kalekye Live and Uncut. It is yet another one of our Zoom episodes, and this is just because, hey, COVID-19 is real, and I am one of the people at KM Network who believe that it is important for us to maintain safety, especially for the amazing guests who really give us their time to be part of the conversation. And heck, what conversation can't we have even on the interwebs? And that is what we're doing. So during this particular show, I decided that I really need to address some of the places that my mind and my soul has been going over the COVID period. Let me tell you, I think if you're like me, you've had a moment where you feel, I'm feeling lonely. And it's normal. I mean, if you're single and you're thinking, I'm feeling lonely, I don't know, maybe this guy who's chatting me up must be the one. Hey, this is the time where it's hitting harder than it's ever hit before. I know because I have made some poor choices. But to help me have this discussion of whether there are some people who are just there to be a lesson or whether everybody you meet could be or could be a soulmate. I love this girl. You know why? Because for her, everything she does, she makes no apology for. She is passionate. She believes in people and their ability to do good as they rise up against the odds. And you may know her as a panelist on the NTVs The Trend, that show that everybody likes to watch. But she is also a fundraiser for a Kenyan cancer charity, the Faraja Cancer Support Trust. She is a wife and a mother of 3 boys. How she does it, I don't know. Welcome, Cindy Ogana.
Thank you so much. What helps me get along is a lot of wine. Don't tell anyone.
Actually, what?
You can't be a mother of 3 and you're sober. A mother of 3 boys. Sometimes you just need wine.
Well, Cindy, you know, when you reached out to me, I mean, one of the things that stood out for me is just how have you been dealing with the emotions, the mental space of this whole pandemic, especially seeing as you just got a new bundle of joy recently, because the last time we had you on the show, you was heavy with child.
I was. His name is Thomas. He's 4 months old.
Aww.
Now, how has it been during COVID? I'm one of those people. I'm blessed because when COVID struck, we were in the office and the first COVID case was announced. The next day, my boss told us, you guys, let's just, because we deal with immunosuppressant patients, people who have undergone chemotherapy, and any kind of infection could take their immune system lower. So my boss said, let's just work from home. And a couple of days later, Thomas came. So when people were in quarantine, I was on maternity leave. So I was home anyway, and I didn't feel the constraint of not being able to socialize, go out, because I was meant to be home. So it was really a time for blessing for me. And I was home with people, my husband, my kids, guys weren't going to school. So I had the support system and it felt really, really, really good. However, just the motions of COVID, I feel, especially for us Kenyans, is coming closer to home lately, because now we are learning of cases that are, closer to us. People, people you've worked with, their relatives, their loved ones are getting COVID or are passing on from COVID. So it's just that psychological trauma. Could I have it? Could I pass it on to my children? And then there's a fear of, I should I now stay at home? I don't even go to the shops. And the trauma of being in an enclosed environment and living in a bubble. So guys want to come and love on you. And you're like, no, don't touch me. Don't come home. Yes.
I totally understand how difficult that is. But let me bring you closer to the singles. So let's take you back a little.
Yes, let's talk about single, ready to mingle. Kalekye, are you seeing anybody?
No, I'm currently not seeing anybody. I am okay with answering that question. And by the end of this chat, you will hear as if I might not even want to, but I will not let the cat out of the bag. Let's go step by step. I think one of the things that really confuses many of us, especially as women, is the fact that the relationships we choose, how we are choosing them, we're never really conscious about our mental space. Where are we? What are we trying to fulfill? Is there somewhere that could be fulfilled by something else, but we are busy trying to throw a relationship into it? I don't know whether that kind of resonates with you, because for me, I think I've been in another place where some of the choices I'm making, I'm like, I'm giving people space in my life that I wasn't giving people.
Again, I mentioned the word blessing a lot because I think that's a thought through line in my life. I am blessed that I got married, now legally married. I got married, and I don't mind saying this because I'm confident in myself. I got married when I was 37. And what I love about that is that I had a long time to be single, and I had a long time to make mistakes. And by the time I was meeting my husband and we were getting married, I had already made those mistakes and learned from them. And a lot of the issues I feel a lot of young people have right now is that they are rushing into the relationship, solidifying it, sometimes even in marriage or bringing a child into this world, and they have not dealt with the issues that they have in here and not the ones that they have in here. The mind and the heart are correlated. There's an alignment. You know, when there's a Bible verse that says, it's been a while since I read the Bible. I should, but it's been a while. Out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. Right? That verse is talking about, you know, our whatever we speak comes from our heart and how we feel. But I also feel how we act comes from our heart, how we feel, and how we think. Growing up and the initial stages, especially for a woman, so fundamental in how we view relationships, in how we view men, in how we view commitment, even in how we view mother. That's why I had to mention that I got married late and I had enough chances to make all these mistakes so that when I finally settled down, I could do it right. If I go back to my younger self, to my 14-year-old self, 10-year-old self, I was not mentally prepared to be married in the 20s. God knew. Of course, I cried about it like every single person.
Oh my God. I could tell you a story.
Isn't it?
I cried. 25. Hey. It was a bad birthday.
There you go. Those two landmark ages where society says you should have settled down. Like after campus, most of my friends, 2 years after, they were getting married. So 25, 26, guys are getting married. You're a guest at the wedding. You're thinking, my time is coming. Your time comes and goes. That day, you clock that day. Nothing. As in your inbox, you're looking, you're searching. You're like, maybe you're in junk mail. Nothing. Not even spam mail. Not even a Nigerian trying to lie that he's my relative and he's one inheritance. There's nothing. So what happens is it causes a sense of desperation. This is my situation. It causes a sense of desperation and worry, covered with these memes that you see. Oh, a woman waiting for her man after 30. Then there's a meme of a skeleton on a bench. And it's, it's just chilling. You see that one?
Oh, God.
It's so hurtful. Like, oh my God, is that me? Coupled with these nice pictures people are putting on social media. You watch romance movies and people are cuddling. You're like, that would be nice, by the way, especially now that it's cold, sub-zero temperature.
Sub-zero, you're here by yourself looking at your blanket. You're
like, it wouldn't be bad to have somebody sit next to me. It wouldn't be bad to have somebody to kiss me. Something that simple. Then, once in a while, somebody hollers at you. Normal platonic relationship. But because you've already cooked things in your mind and you're worried that your time is running out and you want to please your relatives. You want to show that person who you liked and they rejected you that you also wanted. you ingia chublu into this person's box, and maybe they were a lesson, not a soulmate. So the stories I can tell you about this are crazy.
That's exactly where I wanted to go, because I want to ask, like, is it something you've been through that has led you to discover there is a lesson that is different from that soulmate? Because I've been trying to look back at my own relationships, and sometimes I don't even know, was there a lesson there, or am I just like, that was an idiot, move over, you know. So how did you get to discover the difference?
There is a lesson. First of all, I'm a deep lover. I'm the kind of person, if I love you to death, and I'll make it work no matter what. Whichever way you present yourself in any shape, form, or manner. Like you said in the intro, I'm a believer in people. Just because for the longest time in my life, I felt like I was the odd one out, like there was something different about me. And I am where I am because there were people who invested in me and loved me despite my flaws and despite what I was going through. So I have that same notion where if it worked for me, it could work for somebody else. The problem with that was the people who came into my life at that period were not the kind that I should have settled with, were not the kind I should have invested with, they were not the kind I should have given the time of day. I should have just helped them carry along. Cross that bridge.
It's not an easy place to be, or even to recognize that you can.
Yeah, I should have just told them, oh, you're in Mombasa town. Cross Nyali Bridge. That's where you go.
There. Go towards Malindi.
Holding their hand, and I was busy loving them, and I was busy giving them my time. And the repercussions of that affected my mental state. So it took me having 3 failed long-term relationships. When I say long-term, I mean more than a year. Having an emotional breakdown on Facebook, getting my father to call me and say, baby, are you okay? I've read something on Facebook, you're not all right. Getting my support system to sit me down and say, okay, you need to see someone. And for me to go through therapy, go through internalizing and going back to the basics to realize the problem was not them. The problem was me. I was the constant. Remember in mathematics, the constant Y.
The constant K.
Yes, the constant K. I was the constant. These guys are coming and leaving, but I'm the constant. So what is it about me that I keep choosing this? I was going to use a bad word.
Well, it is okay. Just say what you want to say. It is fine.
What is it about me that I keep choosing these lessons? What is it about me that I'm attracting these people? And when I went to the fundamentals and I broke it down, it started with my state of mind. It started with my own trauma. It started with my own ideologies of what relationships are, what love is, of who I am. And I had to start from scratch. You know the way if you're a farmer, you plant seed, you think it's good seed, you get a bad harvest, but you have to plow. You have to remove the too bad weeds, let the ground rest.
Yes.
And then you plow again. That's the process that I had to go through. So it took those life lessons. It took me embarrassing myself. It took me becoming a single mother to realize, okay, Cindy, now stop. Achana na mambo ya matali. Achana kabisa. Deal with you. Deal with your issues. Then the man comes. The man will come. And the man came.
So, I mean, it sounds so easy. It sounds so doable. And I'm here probably with that same rep of just, picking purely and probably picking the same type of guy over and over again. And when I look at, the way you're saying, look at what ideology you have, what does love mean to you? Look, my parents this year celebrated their 50th anniversary.
Oh, that's nice.
Yes. And so I know as much as, of course, being parents, they hide things from you, whatever the fight, whatever, but there's nowhere I can say that I watched and thought of a breakdown in their relationship. My father is a very calm guy, very chill. So that's the kind of guy I look for, because me, I'm as kiherehere as my mother.
Yeah. A good kiherehere.
I accepted. I am just as forward, I'm outgoing, I'm, that type of person. And the fact that my mother found a man like my dad who allows her to be herself but can still pull her back together when needed, I believed that there is that guy outside there for me. Now, I don't know how I keep attracting people who are not looking for anything long term. They are looking for fun, but they realize probably after a month, hey, this chick is not here for fun. And then it's like they always get upset that that's what they thought they were there for and leave. So I kept asking myself, am I giving off that vibe that this is for fun? Because I never thought I was. So I'm still trying to crack this thing.
The code.
My lesson is.
Let me tell you something, Kalekye. The person who you're going to settle down with doesn't look like what you have in mind. Does not present themselves the way you think they will. We have been accustomed to believe that our Prince Charming is a knight in shining armor. This Mexican soaps. I mean, we all watch. You and I are of that generation where we watched Escrava.
Yes.
And The Rich Also Cry. Wild Rose. I was looking for that.
De mi vida.
Yes. If you're watching this and you have no idea what we are, talking about, please, TikTok is free. Download now, Jibambe. So we grew up where we were constantly romance, and the idea of romance was infused in us. And then came the Mills and Bones and the Silhouette books. And we, as women, we're very visionary people, even from the time we were kids. If I compare my niece visits us a lot, and she's 1 year apart from our firstborn son, Arthur. And if you see how Salma brings things to life, you can tell she's a visionary. As women, we already think 10, 15 years ahead. Yeah. Salma is 11. She's already thinking about when she's 16. I'm like, girl, enjoy being 11, first of all. My son Arthur is for here and now. Mama, when are you getting us a wireless mouse? Mama, when are you getting me a PS4? He's thinking now.
No.
So he's not thinking ahead. He's not thinking beyond Tuesday. But as women, we're visionaries. And because we're visionaries, when we see things like that, it forms an image in our head. And then we start acting it out. The thing is, we are not, especially I'm not sure about the current generation, but I think it's still going on. We don't have anybody to steer us into the right direction, to walk with us and tell us, okay, you will feel this type of way, but this is not how it's supposed to be. So we have images in our heads that are like idols, and we worship them, we nourish them with our thoughts and our emotions, and we get crushes on people we see on TV, on radio, musicians, we take their pictures and we cut it out. The thing is, once we move from that phase and into real life, nothing changes. There is no big lesson, there's no big transition. We still have that reverie in our head that the man has to look like this, that the man has to look like that. Then bring in media. And people downplay this thing. But when I say media, I mean television, radio, newspapers, and right now the internet. It is flooding us with images of how a woman, ideas of how a woman should be, how relationships should be, how men should be. They should have money. They should be tall, dark, and handsome. They should come from good families. They should have a good head over their shoulders. They should be the breadwinner. Well, guess what, Kalekye? If you look at our society, our Kenyan society, because that's the context we're talking about, we are second, third generational children after independence. It means that our fathers were born just before independence and gave birth to us. So we are actually first generation after independence. Our kids are second generation after independence.
Yes.
The way our parents were raised is the way they're raising us, is the way we are raising our children. We have not had enough exposure for certain mindsets to be broken. Why am I talking about this? Because as women, since it's me and you, we're chicks, we're talking, we are attracted to men. So what is the problem with these men that we are attracted to? It was how they were raised. They were raised by fathers who told them, men do not cry. They were raised by fathers who, depending on where they came from, let the mom be the dominating one. The dad was just an image in the house. He was sitting down, he was quiet. He was not seen to be affectionate. He wasn't seen to be active. These are the men that we are hoping will be Alejandro, that we're hoping will come and sweep us off our feet, will take us to the Maldives, will be tall, dark, and handsome, and all that kind of stuff. Yes, they might be tall, dark, and handsome, but they have issues.
Yeah.
They have serious issues, and we are not willing to deal with them. Now, I'm not saying that a woman's job is to deal with a man's issues. There is this meme that has said women are not rehabilitation centers for badly raised men.
I love it. I love it.
That is not the issue. It is just that, from my experience, the man you will marry, you might have to work on him. You might have to invest in him. You might have to love on him a little bit extra and quit this nonsense of, let me sit in the house. God is going to miraculously fly a guy. This is my mask.
Oh God!
Into your lap.
Did you just fly your mask?
I just flew my corona all over the screen. Because that's how we believe our husbands are going to just miraculously appear and knock on our door and say, "Hi, Kalekye, I see you on Live&Uncut. I've always wanted you. Can we go out for coffee?" Then at coffee, he says, "I've always admired you. I always carry this ring around because I was waiting for this opportunity. Will you marry me?" Then you're like, "Yeah." When you find he lives in Runda, no, he's in Kibera somewhere drinking.
I don't like you very much right now.
He's in Kibera somewhere drinking Senator.
Senator. Jesus.
And here you are, you're like, seriously, God, this is the person who you brought for me. Now, again, this is my experience. Experiences are very different. I have friends who fell in love with their husbands from high school and they got married and they lived happily ever after. But what I love is, what put my mind straight was when I was at Fort 96, I invited psychologist and relationship expert Dr. Chris Hart to the studio. And he put it so plain and said, as Kenyans, we're dating wrong. We're dating in an American context. In an American context, a 50-year-old woman can be in a relationship with a 55-year-old man and he'll be single because he's divorced and he'll be financially stable and they'll live happily ever after. Here in Kenya, people rarely divorce. So getting a divorcee, if you're looking for a man who's older than you after a certain age, chances are the wife has died. And if he's of a certain age and he's not married, he's bad news. Yes, Kenyan men by 27 years have already decided when they're going to settle down and who they're going to settle down with. We're talking about now, let's say this is the curve, yeah? So most of them are 27. They're like, I'm going to marry Joanne, who was in class with her. I'm going to marry Susan, who is at my first work. They court, they get married, done in 2 years, at most 3, yeah? So there's a big chunk of these guys who've been cut off. Now we're left with the rest. The rest are the ones who are like, okay, maybe I didn't have it. I didn't have a good time. I didn't go to college. I'm still struggling with my business, blah, 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 blah. They struggle. They find someone. They move in with them. They have a child. And then they take it from there. So in their 30s, 31, 32, they find a woman. Can we stay? They get married. They solemnize their relationship after 5 years. It makes the circle small. Now, what happens to the men and women after 35 years? Now, you see the way our economy is changing, more women are empowered than men. Even right now, if you see jobs, they're saying we encourage female applicants more than men because of this whole shift in the gender world where it's about affirmative action and giving women a better table. So we have women by the age of 30, they've done their masters, they're driving a Mercedes-Benz, they're paying their mortgage. But at 30, we have a guy who maybe did not go to college, is not interested in formal education or formal training, and is trying to make ends meet. And he feels he is not secure financially to get married. But here is a woman who is very ready, but she does not want a man to eat her money because she's worked hard for it.
Tumekulwa. Ai, it's okay.
Fea yetu imekulwa pia, si ndio? Kalekye, mimi mtu amekula fea yangu.
Wewe umekulwa.
Nimekulwa fea na nimeosha maduve, all in the name of love. Go. The first thing I made sure I did when I got married is I bought a washing machine because I was like, there's no way I'm washing duvets again. Been there, done that. It gave me nothing except ulcers and heartbreak. Indwo. So you see that disparity, Kalekye. This guy is 30, is not ready to get married because he doesn't have the financial backing. This woman is 30, she's ready to get married, but there's no man to marry her. So as we move along the scale, when the man is 35 and he's ready to get married, he's not going to look for the 35-year-old woman because she is too empowered. She's too strong for him. She wants him to be at the same level he is in. He's intimidated by her. So he will go and look for somebody younger. He'll go and look for the girl who's straight out of campus, who appreciates that he has a one-bedroom house. And compared to the chick who is living in her own house, driving her own car, and wants a man at the same level. So as the years go on, the woman is aging. Nobody suitable to marry her because most of them, now the circle is very small. Most of them have already been taken. Now she's waiting for somebody's wife to drop dead. Then the widower is available and then she marries him. So what did Dr. Chris Hart say? Number one, after a certain age, be ready to marry young. That's just how it is.
That's just the way it is. That's the way it is.
It's okay right now to we should normalize 40-year-old women marrying 20-year-old men. When Oyotieno married Mbogwa, everybody was up in arms. But guess what? Mbogwa stayed with Oyotieno until she passed on. Right? So we should normalize it. Number two, if a man is of a certain age, and this I have seen with my kurukuru eyes, so all the male viewers who want to dispute this, this is for you. If you're of a certain age, the older you become, the more difficult it is for you to settle down because you become very set in your ways. You realize that you don't really need, as men are born, and I'm saying this as a mother of boys because I see it even when they're small. Boys are born a bit rough and they're very intuitive in nature, like hunting and gathering. They have this very wild persona in them.
And grabbing what's theirs, even with their toys, I'm sure you've seen that.
Yes. So women come as natural. They tame the man down. That is why you see when a man is married, he becomes a bit softer, he dresses well, a bit more soft-spoken, even a bit more polished. Because tunawaosha.
Big up to all the married women.
Tunawaosha. We tell you, please, people stopped wearing those underwear. So they call cowboy.
Forgive.
People wear boxers now. Can you please do away with that nonsense? That candid shirt of yours that you like is not fresh. People buy good shirts that do not crease after ironing because if they do, then they are Chinese, made of polyester. Can you please buy a cotton shirt?
Ati sindi umetumwa leo. Nani alikutuma huku? Uko na moto tisa.
So a man must be told. But the older a man gets, the harder it is to tell him because he's like, what? It has worked for me this far. I still get laid with my tie and dye shirt and my cowboy underwear. What are you coming here to do? And then now they panic. They're like, oh, you've come to eat my money. You've come to change my life. I like things. I'm set in my ways. I like my sitting room with one piece of furniture. I want to eat chips every day and drink my beer. Who are you coming and telling me to invest? Who are you coming and telling me that nyama choma is bad for my health, that I should quit smoking? No. So it becomes more and more difficult for them to settle down and they get into more and more hit and run relationships. So if you're a 40-year-old woman and you're dating a 40-year-old man, your mindset is very different. You have to be really willing to invest in this guy and break down that Neanderthalism, that hunter and gatherism in him, break him down and love him enough to soften. The problem is most women are not willing to do that. They want their men to become ready-made, self-made, and there are very few men.
I must agree with you there, because kwanza ukiwa in your forest, your patience is very little. And a person like me, I already had very little patience because I was very clear on what I like, what I don't like. I can see it from a mile. So my patience levels were already bad. When I hit my 40s, Jesus, they reduced, And so, like you say, the men who would be available to talk to us are either divorcees and widowers. And so, the other problem I face with that is because, for me as a Christian, I'd be more inclined to a widower than I would a divorcee because of my belief in until death do us part. So I met, or rather I was hit on by a widower. My only problem was he seemed very convinced that his way is the way, and what he knows and what he wants is the only thing. So he had checked out, I think I'd done an interview or something, and he had watched it and he had seen me say how I'm a very God-fearing person, my love for God, and that I respect the institution of marriage. And those two things were the only reason he was ready to wife me. He didn't care what I want, what are the values I'm looking for. He never asked me about my past relationships, nothing. It was about him, what he wants, and this is how marriage is. Marriage is like this. You can't say no in marriage. You can't. And I was like, hiya. What just happened?
What about me? Hashtag, what about me? First of all, I'm about to do a very mother thing and move my thamos to this side so I can add more tea.
We love it. It's Live&Uncut. Sorry,
you know I'm breastfeeding, so I have to constantly take hot things.
Do you? Let's have some.
So here's the thing, Kalekye. Let me throw a spanner in the works. I think it's okay if a guy comes and says, what you said attracted me and I want to know you more based on that. It's all right, because men are very tunnel vision. If they see something, that is what they want. Us women were the ones who were all about, what about me? What about my feelings? What about where I came from? What about my best friend in high school? Guys,
isn't it important? I'm just asking.
No, it's not. It's not important.
What?
Imagine, it's not. So there's this course we did before I got married, premarital counseling called Ndoa. I advise anyone who wants to get married, do Ndoa. So I've not done it in any other church. I come from Mavuno, so it's the course that we have at Mavuno. If you're dating someone, if you have been in a long-term relationship, come, we stay. Even if you've been married and you eloped, please do Ndoa. Because what I loved about Ndoa demystified what marriage is, and rather what marriage isn't, and it brought it plainly to what marriage is. And one of the first courses is how men are and how women are. A man will not care. I can tell you for free. My husband is here, he's waiting for me, and he's listening to the interview, and he knows. My husband never asked me about my exes. He didn't care. You know why? Because it makes men feel uncomfortable that somebody else wanted you, somebody else had you before them. Yes, it does. It makes them feel some type of way. Even if they've met you, this is not the movies where we see a guy hooks up with you and he doesn't. It matters to them. It matters to African men that they are not marrying you a virgin, by the way. It matters to them that you had 1, 2, 3 people before. It does. So if you get into the stories of who you are, it bothers them. So they'll rather not know. What they know is what they see now. They're like, Cindy, this is who you are. I saw, I loved, I am the one who has conquered. Stories are ex yako, ni yako now. It's you and your past. But as women, we always need to, it's a female need, but to overshare. Now, I feel you should overshare in a circumstance like mine. As I mentioned before, I was a single mom. So when I got into this marriage relationship, he needed to know that I was a plus one. And pertinent questions need to be asked, and it needs to be, we need to have that conversation. So we enter on a level playing field. Like in anthropology, they call it tabula rasa,
Yes,
level, clean slate. Exactly. So if in that case, indulge. But if you expect a man to, tell me, yes, there is the tell me about yourself and tell me your hopes and dreams. It comes with time. They are not sharers. It takes a while for a man to divulge a lot of information. By the way, something I have learned in my 30 plus years, be very wary of these men who give you too much information.
Oh, really?
On the first date. Yes. On the first date or the first meeting or the first few weeks. Wamekuambia their life story. Wako na shida. Those are the cycles. I'm sorry.
Can I just say that is exactly how that happened with that particular individual. And he's in his 50s. But he told me so much. Mbaka was like, a lot, Plus how he met his wife, what he told her when he saw her, how he liked her legs. Oh, matter how to do what happened. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Those are the cycles. Those are the psychotic ones that you avoid. Because, as you can see, he's already very controlling. So he has this, it's an extreme need to dominate. Yeah. So he wants to tell you everything at the beginning so that you know that he's boss, so that there is no questions after, so that you do not have any leeway, any input in this. It is his way or the highway. Those are very dangerous people to date. Not only men, but also women who come in very controlling and already want you to do things the way they want things done. They want you to build for their mama house and their mom is busy living in a mad house. Be very wary. Those are the ones that are a bit psychotic.
Okay, that's really nice for me to hear right now, because it kind of it calms me down, because I was like, I'm at that place where I was like, okay, so now if you push away this one and he's 56, who are you going to get? And that, I guess, is what's going to take us to the next half of this conversation, because there are moments where a lot of us really assume that we are going to have a man who is available and you take him because he's available, not because it is the right thing for you. And what is this thing called soulmate anyway? Can we really define it and understand what it is we're looking for? This is about Lessons Vs Soulmates. This is Kalekye Live and Uncut with the amazing Cindy Ogana. And we're going to just, pause for a moment, as we will have to do this conversation in a part 2. Yes, you gotta wait for more. I tell you, she's like a well of wisdom. I mean, even me, I'm looking at her and I'm going, who that? Who's this chick? I love her conversation. I love what she has to share. And if we can learn anything and change our perceptions, that is exactly why I love Live and Uncut, because I really would love to see somebody come up and just share this information. So I'm really loving that you're here, Cindy. We're going to take this moment to pause. And when we come back in the second part of Lessons Vs Soulmates, I will be trying to find out, how you distinguish the person who has the qualities of being your soulmate. What are some of the things that you may be looking for? And how do you clean up your own system to be able to accept that this is the challenge that lies ahead of you? So this is Kalekye Live and Uncut. Remember to ask your questions, put in your comments down there, and of course, click subscribe, because this is a show that you don't want to miss, and share the link with all your friends. You know what I'm saying? Let them learn something. And we will catch you next time right here on Kalekye Live and Uncut.